The historic atrium at the West Baden Springs Hotel has hosted glamorous celebrities and exotic guests, but none more exotic than the circus.
Oh, the circus history of the area is so interesting, and it's very hidden right now. Ed Ballard was the man who controlled the gaming in the valley, and he was a very shrewd business person. He owned a lot of property, and at any given time, he was worth between $20 and $100 million, which is a staggering sum back then. He made great investments. One of the investments was a circus. As a small boy, he was so poor that he couldn't even afford to go to the circus. But he had the opportunity in 1913 to buy one. In Peru, Indiana, there was a circus called the Hagenbeck-Wallace Circus. It was started by a man named Ben Wallace. Later on, he joined with Carl Hagenbeck, who was an animal trainer from Germany. And the circus had people acts and animal acts. In 1913, there was a horrible flood. The Mississippi River and the Wabash flooded, and the circus grounds were so flooded that even elephants drowned. It decimated the circus. Well, Ed Ballard stepped in about that time and probably made a good business deal and bought that circus. His idea was, I'm bringing it down to French Lick and we're going to have it winter here. By 1915, he had buildings built just almost in the front yard of his house. He wanted to be able to walk out his front door, go right to the circus grounds, see the animals and everything that he couldn't do when he was a boy. There are a few old-timers here who still remember elephants walking down the street. The first time the circus was in town, Lee Sinclair let them set the circus tents up on the old golf course, which is just right by the arches that enter in. During World War I, however, when this was an Army hospital at West Baden, they did have a performance inside the atrium. They would do a dress rehearsal performance in April for the community, hop on a train, and you would not see them again until the first week of November. And these circuses traveled by rail, which meant they could do a town a day, and that's exactly what they did. They moved every single day.
Day and night, the circus moved like an efficient military unit along the rail lines, until a tragic night in 1918. An exhausted train engineer fell asleep in transit, ramming his locomotive into the back of the circus train. An estimated 80 people were killed, and 120 injured in total, nearly half of the troupe.
That today is known in circus circles as the Great Train Wreck. You say those three words, everybody knows what you mean. And it still is the largest loss of circus life of any accident for any circus going. That caused Ed Ballard to ante up something like $300,000 to help take care of things. And no different from today, yes, there were little lawsuits, all sorts of things like that happened. But the real devastation was, how does this circus continue on? Within 3 days after the accident, they did perform again in Beloit, Wisconsin, and other circuses sent people to help. That's what made the difference.
The circus did bounce back. In the 1920s, the circus experienced a golden age, and within the decade, Ballard and his partners owned every single American circus but one, Ringling Brothers.
In 1929, they thought, well, we own 5 circuses. Let's see if we can buy Ringling. The 3 partners sat with John Ringling. 2 of the partners wanted to buy, the other one didn't. But there was a discussion, and the upshot of the deal was the gentleman sold out to the Ringling Circus for, I've read 1.7 million, I've read as high as 2 million. In 1929, 6 weeks later, the stock market crashes. Ballard was an extremely lucky business person that way. Once the circus sold to Ringling, it was the end of circus here. And that's today why you know Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, and you have never heard of Hagenbeck-Wallace. Had that deal gone the other way, the words Ringling Brothers wouldn't mean anything.
The French Lick and West Baden communities have fought to keep the town's circus history very much alive. And though the legacy has faded, they've been able to establish a new, unexpected legacy for one of the largest circus dioramas in the world.
This was built by a man in Vancouver, British Columbia by the name of Peter Gorman. He intended to build the largest circus diorama in the country. So he picked the largest circus to build a diorama of, and that was Hagenbeck-Wallace 1934. It was the largest circus that ever went out on the railroad. Peter spent 32 years building the diorama. He would go out, take pictures of the wagons, of the railroad cars, of the performers, and draw up his own blueprints. His day job was a traveling job, so he would carry a briefcase full of balsa wood, basswood, and paint, and instead of sitting at the bars at night drinking, he would build models.
In total, it took Peter 40 years to build. Today, the diorama features over 150,000 individual pieces, including 5,700 people and animal figures.
Since the circus wintered here from 1913 to 22, he thought that French Lick and West Baden would be interested in his diorama, and we were.
In the end, the diorama stretched an impressive 1,100 square feet. For 23 days, as many as 20 volunteers worked on the diorama, laying track and completing ground cover, including a very enthusiastic model train builder.
Sure enough, I got a call on the 1st of January 2013, and Peter Gorman came down from Vancouver. We started and we laid some track. I have experience as a model railroader, so I knew quite a bit about building the display. Didn't know a thing about circuses, and volunteered 432 hours and talked myself into a job.